Good blessed Tuesday morning, April the 1st, 2025. It's about 5:39 a.m. I greet all human beings all around the world with the universal greetings of peace and the blessings of God be with you. It doesn't matter what your political, philosophical, personal, nor your religious beliefs may be. It doesn't matter whether you're the richest or the poorest person on the face of this earth. It doesn't matter whether you the proclaimed toughest to the proclaimed weakest person on the face of this earth. It doesn't matter if you're my family, friends, nor my proclaimed enemies. It doesn't matter whether you like me or anything that I say or do. That's your prerogative. You have a First Amendment to the United States Constitution, a freedom of press, a freedom of speech, a freedom to protest, a freedom to gather, a freedom to associate. As long as you're doing it in a peaceful, non-violent manner. If you're a felon, you want to check with your local law enforcement officials to see whether or not it's against the law for felons to gather together. If you're on probation or parole, you want to do the same thing to see if you are able to do any of the above mentioned. What I come to speak about early this morning, where you hear the birds chirping, I want to speak about the danger and the unsafeness in Charleston, Missouri, Mississippi County, on the west side, the southwest side of town. Today is April the 1st. Some people look at it as being April Fool. You see what I'm saying? I don't look at this as being April the Fool Day, April the 1st, 2025, here in Charleston, Missouri, on the west side of town where I live. I see it as being a wake-up call, a reality check. You see, when I was coming up in Cabrini Green, we didn't really worry about people that lived in our neighborhood attacking us. When my parents grew up here in southeast Missouri, some here, one in Charleston, Missouri, the other one in Bell City and Sykes, Missouri, they wasn't worried about people that looked like them attacking them. And this is no disrespect to nobody, no race or nothing. I'm just speaking what's real. They was worried about white supremacists coming around, burning crosses, taking somebody out of their houses, hanging them, beating them in the streets. Yeah, here in southeast Missouri, it's histories of it. Centuries of histories of it. That's what they was worried about. But I raised two beautiful daughters. Not saying that they're angels, from birth. One is going on 20, and the other one is going on 19. You know, the last thing that I wanted them to get prepared for is buying a weapon. You see, at 18 here in Charleston, Missouri, 19, unless you're in the military or been honorably discharged from the military, you can get a weapon at 18. But both of them will be 19 and 20 this year. And the last thing, like I said, I had in mind of getting them or having them to train for is using a weapon. You see, the weapon wouldn't be for the white supremacists. It'll be for the same ones when you've seen the picture of Brother Malcolm X, El Hajj, El Malik, El Shabazz, when he was in that window looking out the curtains with that M16 in his hand. It wasn't for the white supremacists. It was for blacks, if the shoe fit, wear it. You see, Malcolm X spoke up against all wrong. when people in the neighborhood or people in the community brought Malcolm X problems, what blacks was doing to other blacks, Malcolm X spoke up about it. When the women came to him complaining about what was happening to their daughters, Malcolm X spoke up about it. Some blacks didn't like it, but Malcolm X didn't care. Malcolm X was his own man. You see what I'm saying? That's the same with me. You see, I speak up against all wrong. You see, some blacks don't like when I speak up about wrong or expose wrong, and they do what they did to Malcolm. They burned his house, bombed. You see what I'm saying? I done had all type of things that had happened to me. I've been assaulted twice by individuals 6 feet something, 260 to 300 and something pounds on a little bitty guy like me for merely speaking the truth. But what I want to talk about, y'all, I just want to just let you know, Charleston, Missouri has become real dangerous. In the month of March, have y'all seen just in the month of March of 2025, the violence that's been happening on the west side of town? See, anytime you got individuals that running government programs and hire individuals that attack little girls, attack little kids, attack their elders, with and without deadly weapons, then you got a problem. You see what I'm saying? Anytime you have multiple parents, and if the shoe fit wet, kids be wandering a mile or so away from their neighborhood, coming into other people's neighborhoods, starting chaos. And the first thing their parents say, oh, he was at home. And cameras showing them they wasn't at home. You see, when I was coming up in Cabrini Green, if you did something wrong in one part of the neighborhood, you get your butt whooped by the parents that caught you. Then when you get home, you wouldn't have to worry about individuals wants to argue at you saying, my child wasn't there. You get another whooping. But the parents want to fight you now. I made a Facebook Live yesterday when I was watching the children in my neighborhood around here, around Vine and Warhausen in this area, the ones that live over here, that was enjoying themselves multiple, and my cameras caught one individual walking in my yard, going on the side of my house, going towards my shed with a backpack. And I came out there. And I walked him back out. As I was walking him back out, I asked him, can he read? And he said, yeah. And I showed him a sign. I said, what did that sign say? He said, no trespassing. So he knew what he was doing. I didn't know until later, after my live, this same child, the children said the police was chasing him and some other kids for running around here kicking on other people's doors. Not in the white neighborhood. This is a black child. Not in the white neighborhood, but in the black neighborhood. And I'm not saying that's where they should go. But they got enough sense to not go over on the other side of town with that mess. The only reason they do it on this side of town is because the leaders that these blacks chose to have here in Charleston, Missouri, Mississippi County for decades, that ain't doing a doggone thing for the black community, but getting money through these federal government grant programs. The Susanna Wesley Family Learning Center, what do they move from East Prairie, Missouri, to Charleston, Missouri, not on the west side of town, not on the northeast side of town, not in the white neighborhood, but in the black neighborhood. But don't none of them live in the black neighborhood. Where do Fresh Start Self-Improvement Center, what do they do? And these other individuals running these government programs, what do they land at? On the southwest side of town, but where do they live? Black and white. They don't live in our neighborhood. But yet, they don't monitor the people that they hire. You know why they don't monitor the people what they hire? Especially Fresh Start Self-Improvement Center, because it's a convicted felon that's running it. You see what I'm saying? The convicted felon done had 2 of his workers that he had working with him physically attacked me, and I'm old enough to be their daddies. That's why my daughters and them is training to use a deadly weapon. You see, anytime you have somebody that's 315 pounds, 6'5", 37 years old, and attack a 67-year-old, 5'7", 160-pound individual, senior, with mace or some other type of weapon, it's time to use a deadly weapon. That size is just like an elephant coming at you. You see what I'm saying? You're going to need some heavy artillery to drop that elephant. I don't encourage violence, nor do I encourage hate. But you got a right to protect yourself. And I'm teaching my daughters and them that right. I took my daughters and them out of the Charleston R1 school district because they wasn't protected in there. You done had a chief of police that done been in office for over 30-something years. Don't come and mingle with the community. You see what I'm saying? Don't communicate with people that's trying to stop violence on west side of town where I live. See, I lived on the northeast side before, or the southeast side before, in the projects. And you didn't have this mess that you have over here on the southwest side. You know why? Because it was a lot of whites living on that other side of town, and they just didn't play that. You see, when you have individuals that you call leaders, to each his own, you call leaders and you ain't seen no progress in 20 or 30 years, you getting what you're asking for. Now, you got an opportunity to change City Hall here in Charleston, Missouri, Mississippi County, 7 days from now, or you can go early to vote. But on April the 8th, you got 3 city council seats. One is a 2-year seat, and the other 2 is a 3-year seat. I encourage you blacks that want a change City Hall. Vote for Trent Lane that's running for the 2-year seat. You see, the individual that he's running against, look at his history. He used to be Halter. I believe that's Halter. Halter used to be the city manager. You ask City Hall, why did they fire Halter? Now, if he got fired as city manager and now he's running for city council, what change is he finna bring? Also, with the 3-year, I encourage y'all to vote for the sister Unique and the sister Mays that's running for the 3-year seat. You see, one of the city councils that's already in play live on this side of town, but don't come around here talking to none of us in here You see what I'm saying? I can only assume because we're black and he's white. That's white side. Monica Gooden, she says that our black children's, underage children's, be drinking a lot. And she would agree with the chief of police, which is white, she's white, that our Labor Day weekend, when people come from out of town, black people come from out of town, because a few people do something, that we need to shut it down before the sun go down, before it get dark. But what about the history of the white supremacists going into the jails, bringing blacks out, hanging them? Should we look at all white people like that? I don't. But I'm going to leave it with this here. You need to vote Monica Gooden and Jackie Whiteside up out of there if you want to change. You want to keep Trent Lane in there if you want to change. And then when they're running for office, I'm not just saying blacks, I'm just saying the three blacks that I see that's running, the three people that I see that's running, that'll make a change for the whole city. Because these other people is making a change for one side of town, and it's not the black side of town. They working hand in hand with these black leaders and black preachers. All they want is money. And I can't tell you what to teach your children. But I raised mine, and I don't care what y'all say about me. Those that y'all call me rapists, a judge wouldn't give me custody of my two daughters if I was a rapist. Ask Lynn Brown, who gave me custody of my kids when the Charleston, Missouri Police Department and this system and these blacks that's in power now, Susanna Wesley, the people from Fresh Start, all them worked it hand in hand, took advantage of my two young children's mother addiction, snatched my kids for 70 days and 70 nights, but I fought for mine. They let them get out of the state. I found them 70 days later in Cabrini Green when it was still open, malnourished, multiple mosquito bites, dehydrated, dirty, hungry. But do you think the people here that helped get them to their mother, which their mother made a video and said who these people is that manipulated her to take my children and to try to claim that I raped children? But I'm going to leave y'all with this here. I'm going to take care of mine. I can't fight for Charleston no more. If you ain't fighting for yourself, what sense did I fight for y'all? And if the shoe fit, wear it. It remind me of the Valley of Dry Bones. Ezekiel asked it, God, I believe it was Ezekiel, asked God, would these bones live? Moses, when he went to Pharaoh and tell Pharaoh that God said, let my people go, once he got him up out of there, and God told them to leave everything behind, the gold and all that. What did they do when Moses went to pray? Worshiping gods. That's what's wrong. Everybody worshiping money. Y'all talk about Donald Trump. Donald Trump is an angel compared to these black leaders here in Charleston, Missouri, Mississippi County, and these white supremacists. And 90% of these preachers. But I'm going to show you something else. Well, my kid's mother, before she died, she told what was going on. When she talk about that individual on the voter fraud, it's the same black individual that's running them programs at 700 Elm Street. Peace be still.
Of Raymond Lewis Ivy and our two beautiful daughters. Less than 24 hours, the Cubs have clinched the Dodgers in the National League and on their way to the World Series. A beautiful feeling. But the best feeling is when I asked God, my ex-husband, Raymond Lewis Ivy, and our two beautiful daughters for forgiveness. in all that I've done. Despite the fact that I've done wrong, he has forgiven me, my children have forgiven me, and I've forgiven myself. In saying that, the things that are going on in Charleston, Missouri against my ex-husband, Raymond Lewis Ivy, are false. Some of the employees of the Charleston, Missouri Police Department, the Charleston, Missouri R1 School District, and some of the employees of the East Prairie, Charleston, Missouri Susanna Wesley Family Learning Center are accusing my husband of things that are not true. I apologize. It's really disturbing to think that the people who have pulled and are doing things and receiving government finances to do things that Mr. Raymond Ivy is doing for free and helping others as myself, men and women, for free. In my addiction, I've done things that he's forgiven me for, my children have forgiven me for, my family has forgiven me for, but most of all, I've forgiven myself. The things that are being accused against my ex-husband are absolutely false. With no doubt in my mind, I know for a fact that it's not true. To think of a person that has taught me things, I apologize, it's just disturbing to know that someone from Susanna Wesley Family Learning Center has something to do with all of this. The accusations that he's going around grabbing little kids, telling them that he's a rapist, that Raymond Ivy is a rapist and a child molester and a pedophile are absolutely false. And it makes me very, very uncomfortable to realize that this person is a board member of the Nutrition Center of the Financial Advisor. In saying that, I apologize. It's very disturbing to even think that those kind of things are going on. Some of the employees of the Charleston, Missouri Police Department, I've seen for myself because I was a victim of the corruption. I was one of the ones that they convinced to go against my husband at that time. To convince me to go and grab my children against their will because of the things that they thought he was, which he's not. So in saying that, some of the employees of the Charleston Police Department are corrupt, along with some of the employees of the Susanna Wesley Family Learning Center. This one individual has been convicted in 1998 for voters fraud and cannot vote to this day. So, due to all the corruption that he's had a part of, he's going against my ex-husband, which should not happen. And so, with that being said, he would come along with people in my addiction and other men and women and offer them $1, a can of beer to vote for him, which was, at that time in my addiction, was fine. He also had, offered other things to men and women in our addiction that you don't do for nothing, That's the kind of man that he is, He's a liar, a cheat, a fraud, as you know he's been convicted of. In saying that, I would just like to say that to those who are listening and watching this video, to please support him, because he's doing a wonderful job to support Raymond Lewis Ivy in doing what he's doing best, helping others, bringing unity back to the community for free. Again, some people, as the person that I've mentioned, not saying any names, but I'm pretty sure you guys may understand who I'm talking about, are getting federal government finances and are not doing a well job whatsoever. So in saying that, the things that Raymond Lewis Ivy is doing is godlike. He's a Christian, he's an ambassador of Jesus Christ, and he's a major help to people of my kind and other kinds, men and women included. Children as well. Children, I used to live in Charleston, Missouri. That was my ex-husband. And children looked up to him, came up to him and asked him and for advice and just like gathered around him. So for people to accuse him of things that are not true is appalling. And he's also a civil rights leader, along with Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, even Obama, are fighting for our kind. And with saying that,
I give it to my two youngest daughters' mother, Marisol. May she rest in peace. She was able and willing to speak up about the wrong here in Charleston, Missouri, Mississippi County. This individual that she's talking about with the voter fraud, some of y'all know this individual been doing crooked criminal activities with these government programs for over 2 decades. Susanna Wesley Family Learning Center taught him how to do it. He branched off from them. He branched off from other people. And he's been doing this for years. Imagine if some of the females, may my kids' mother rest in peace. Imagine if some of the females and other people speak up about him coming to get their food stamps, paying them $500 checks. And when Town and Country was open, had him to go to Town and Country or McLean's to cash a check and have to bring them $250 back, half of that. Imagine those who getting out of the federal and state penitentiaries, he had them sign papers saying that they was taking children's bowling and other places and ain't took them no place. That's why he hired some of the people he hiring now. You see what I'm saying? Because they off in the criminal activity and they not gonna talk about it. But one thing about it, God gonna shut it down. Sooner or later, one day, some of these females gonna come forward and y'all will see them just like R. Kelly. You see what I'm saying? Y'all will see them just like some of the other people, Diddy. Y'all see them like some of the other people. That 700 Elm Street or 700 Cy Williams Avenue or Cy Williams Street, where the housing authority is at, the Civic Center, the C.F. Bowen Civic Center, that's no more than a black criminal organization that's operating up under federal government grant funds. And if the housing authority would bar me for the past 3 years, why are they not barring the individuals that assaulted me, the individuals that sell drugs in the black community, the individuals that assault little children, the individuals that assault black elderly people? Why ain't they barring them? You know why? Because they doing it to black people. Peace be still. This what I done for a living, y'all. Besides being an activist, that's what I done for a living. It's my type of work, y'all. Saving lives.